with this mantra 41 ऋग्वेद। जिस प्रकार राजा के दर्शन सबको उपलब्ध नहीं होते हैं, परंतु हर प्राणी को महसूस होता है कि हम राजा की प्रजा हैं। राजा की जय जयकार सभी के कानों में पड़ती है, परंतु उसका रूप प्रजा के सन्मुख नहीं होता। इसी प्रकार वायु के चलने का शब्द सब सुनते हैं, परंतु उसे देख नहीं सकते। घोषः इदस्य ऋन्वरे न रूपम। वायु की ध्वनि सुनाई देती है, उसका रूप नहीं दिखलाई देता। So वायु is the air. We really cannot see the air. Okay? वायु से सभी जी रहे, वायु सबका प्राण, वायु से ही रिक्त थल आत्मवत पहचान। आत्मा जिस विद व्याप्त है, वायु भी तिमि होए, प्रतीति उसकी होत है, दिखत है न सोए। बोध वायु का हो तभी जब चले वह मीत, शब्द से ही होते है उसकी लो प्रतीत। स्पर्श भी होता है तभी चले जब वायु जान, अथवा उसका बोध तो कभी न होता मान। पवन हमारी बहुहितकारी, छिप वह करती है रखवारी। जन तो फरामोश है मीत, गदला करे उसे हर रीत। Okay? So faramosh, that means thankless. We have that air. I mean, don't we see that when we pollute it, what happens? Or when we cannot breathe it, what happens? So we are thankless until we have been taught the lesson. Don't be thankless. And in Sanskrit, it's called kritghan. Kritghan. That is called a flaw. So we should be thankful, not thankless, and protect this air. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha Tatsavitra Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Astoma Satgamya Tamasoma Jyotirgamya Mrityorma Amritam Gamya. Om Sena Vavtu Sena Bhunatu Saviryam Karvavahi Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahi. Om Shanti 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 Om. So today we're going to start chapter 4. And if you're wondering how many chapters are in Astavakra Gita, there are 20 of them. 20 chapters. Some of the chapters are very, very short chapters. And this is also chapter 4 is one of those short chapters, only 6 verses. And each chapter is spoken by either King Janak or his guru Rishi Astavakra. So this 20 chapters, and how many verses in the scripture? I don't know you have counted it or not, but I did. 298. 298. So it's not a very big of a scripture, but very deep though. Starts out with a big punch. Question from King Janak to his guru. And in second chapter, so in the first chapter, the guru answers a question. Second chapter is where King Janak says, I have experienced my family. He talks about it. So first chapter had 20 verses. Second chapter had 25 verses. And in the third chapter, the guru says, kind of a testing his disciple, that you are saying that you have seen yourself. Have you really? So he's testing him. There are 14 verses. And now in chapter 4, King Janak is, in a very humble way, talking to his guru. Okay, so that guru is satisfied that my student is really self-realized. He has seen the Atma, he has seen that light. And that's why there are further chapters after that where the guru keeps on giving him more knowledge. Okay, so we'll see that. And after that, we'll see in chapter 5 especially how to get rid of the ego. There are only 4 verses. In 4 verses, there are 4 methods of dissolution of the ego which I was talking about earlier, which the great personalities get stung by. Okay, because we got to learn from those stories, from those examples, and make sure that we keep our ego in check. Okay, it's not only ego in Satyabhama or ego in Garud. The ego can sting us very easily too. So we'll see that chapter. Okay. So any question before we start, or can we start with chapter 4? Okay. So this chapter is called the glory of realization. So in a very eloquent way, he is defending himself, almost pleading not guilty. And who's saying it? Excuse me, King Janak. Because he heard that taunting criticism by his teacher. So he just very humbly saying that, no, I'm not that. I have realized, I have seen the Atma. Okay. He says the entire universe is but one's own essential form. One is not separate from the universe. An individual is separate from the universe only in a name. Only in a name. Just like he gave us the example. When we call it a pot, the air in pot is separated from the air outside only in a name. When pot is broken, that air inside and air outside, no differentiation. So that's why I said an individual is separate from the universe only in a name. We also, when we call ourselves certain name, me and you, there's a separation in a name only. Otherwise, there's no difference between this essence and that essence. There's no difference between the essence in me and essence in the plants outside. Essence in me and essence in the bugs and the trees. Only in the name we see the essence, the difference. So you are not only an essential part of the universe, but you are the very being of the universe. When this oneness with the universe is not realized, you are fooled by your own name, by your own ego. I am bigger than others. I'm better than others. Or even I'm less than others. I'm inferior than others. Okay. Another thing he says that space is not contaminated by the things existing in it. Space means the Akash Tattva is subtler than the lower Tattva. So the subtler cannot be contaminated by the grosser. So the same way he says the object of the pleasures which you are talking about, whether it's a palace or the wives or the gems around me, they are just the objects. I am the essence. And I realize I am the essence, I'm the Atma. I cannot be contaminated by any of this. Okay, so that's how he answers the question of his guru. So let's look at number 1. So there are only 6 verses, so we'll try to finish all 6 verses today. And then we learn how to dissolve our own ego in the next chapter by the great Rishi Astavakra. Okay, so please repeat after me. Hant atam gyasye dhirasye
धीरस्य
खेलतः भोग लियता लीलयः
खेलता भोग लीलया
नाहि संसार वाहिकै
नाही संसार वाहिकै
मूढ़े सह समानता.
मूढ़ सह समानता.
Hant means Atam gyasya, of the knower of the self. Dhirasya, the man of understanding. Khelata, playing like a khelna. Bhog lilya, the game of enjoyment. See, bhog is the enjoyment. And lila is a game. Na means not, he means indeed, sansar vahi ke, a beast of burden of the world. Moode, deluded. Sah means with, samanata, similarity. So King Janak is saying, the man of understanding, the knower of the self, who plays the sport of life, has no comparison with the deluded beasts of burden of the world. Beast of the burden of the world means ordinary person, the person who is not realized. He considers this life as a burden. He says, but a person who is realized, he plays the sport of life. For him, it's just a bhog leela. It's a play. No burden. And where does the burden comes from? Burden is always associated with the fruits. I'm doing and I should get this much result. That becomes a burden. But when you just do it for the sake of doing it, whether there is a winning or losing, whether there is a profit or gain, doesn't matter. You put 100% into what you are doing, and that is it. It's like a full stop after that. Not if and but. So very clearly he says, just read this again. The man of understanding, the knower of the self. Because that's what he said in the 2nd chapter. That, I saw that who I am. So the man of understanding, the knower of the self, who plays the sport of life. So it's not that a person stop living. Your bhog leela will be still here. As long as we are in the body, we'll be eating also. We'll be playing also. We'll be doing our duties also. But as a leela. Has no comparison. Samanata. There's no samanata. No comparison with the deluded beasts of the burden of the world. So we got to see whether we want to become a beast of burden or whether we want to become the self-realized. Okay. So actions are the same. So the difference between a worldly person of passion and a God man of inner peace is not in the type of actions they are performing, but in the conscious understanding with which they enter their fields of action. Like both of them are eating, both of them are sleeping. So you can call the man of understanding a yogi, and the other person a bhogi. A bhogi will do the actions for the enjoyment for himself. Yogi will do the same action. Enjoyment is coming, but not doing it for enjoyment, doing it because it's supposed to be done. So that's why I was saying that there's no difference in the kind of actions. So Bhogi and Yogi both are breathing also. Both are working hard also. But a Bhogi working hard and thinking it's a burden. Life is so terrible. But a Yogi will say, what a beautiful life. Great opportunity God has given to me. Given me this beautiful human form where I can raise my consciousness up. Okay, so in that sense, he says, both are doing the same actions, but intention is different. Okay, so the selfish man is a man of ignorance, and the selfless man is a man of wisdom. This adhir word is associated with the wisdom, is wise. So if you want to summarize this, Janak defends himself with the plea that his actions should not be measured with the same yardstick that is applied in measuring the size of worldly beings. See, Kans was a king too, right? Lord Krishna was a king too. Yudhishthir was a king too. Duryodhana wanted to be a king, he acted like a king, but he was a prince, technically. But intentions were different. And the same way we see these days also the people. Same idea is found in one of the Upanishads. Antaha samsaktihi nirmuktaho jivo madhur vritiman. Bahi kurvan vakrataha bhogataha vehi kvachit. A man who has liberated himself completely from his inner attachment, whose thoughts are ever pure and sweet, such a man, whether he undertakes an action or not, there can never be in his heart at any time, under any circumstances, the sense of doership or enjoyership. That I am doing it or I'm enjoying it. So action is being done not for the sake of enjoying. After cooking, oh, I'll enjoy eating. No, just doing it for the sake of doing it. That's a yogi. That's a man of realization. That's a wise person. That's where we need to go up to. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna teaches us step by step, like a baby steps almost, how to go there. Okay, and that's called a karam sannyasi. That you are doing the action, but you don't feel that you are doing it. Karam sannyasi. So that is like a no sense of doership and no sense of enjoyership. No kartapan and no bhogtapan. Those are the terms we are familiar with. Okay, let's look at next verse. Yad padam prevasvadinaha shakradyaha sarvadevata aho tatra sthita yogi na harsham upagachati. Yat padam, which state? Padam means abode, the state, the level. Prepasva, hankering after. See, this word is like a pipasa. Peene ki ichha. Hankering after. Dinaha, unhappy. Shakra adya, beginning with Indra. Sarv Devata, all gods. Aho tatra, aho means oh, Tatra means there, sthita, abiding, yogi, na harsham, no elation, upagachati, attains. So King Janak is saying, oh, the yogi does not feel elated, abiding in that state, which Indra and others hanker after, and become unhappy when they cannot attain it. So it's like a happiness and unhappiness, duality. We see that even in the gods also. Gods means the devatas, I should say. See, sometimes this god word becomes very confusing. So this god over here, he means the devata. So when we know Sanskrit or Hindi, it's more clear. Sometimes in English, they say it demigod. Okay. So the happiness and bliss experienced by a man of perfection is free from the blissful self. So that's where it's coming from the self, not from the objects. It is the state of perfect happiness that the gods and their kings, King Indra, are seeking. But they are still attached to the outer happiness. Okay. So in other words, he says, they feel disappointed. Even the gods, these devatas, they feel disappointed and cheated because of the inherent imperfection in the incompleteness of even the heavenly sense objects. Okay, they are beautiful scenes, lot to eat. I mean, isn't this we call most of our lives have been heavenly, but still there is an incompleteness. Completeness is only when we are connected with the complete, which is God. So in Janak here points out from his own deep inner sense of fulfillment and bliss in the experience of the self. So complete satisfaction, he says, it comes from living in that completeness. So in other words, he is trying to answer his Guru when Guru said that you have all this and you call yourself a yogi, a perfect person. He says, I am drawing that bliss from the ultimate. How can the responsibilities of the throne ever distract me? I'm just doing my actions only, my duties only. But my real bliss is coming from that ultimate. Tajgyasya punye papabhyam sparshahi antah na jayate nahi akashasya dhumena drishyamana api sangati. Tajgyasya, one who has comprehended that. Gya, janna. That means that. Punya papa bhyam, with virtue and vice, with pap and punya. Sparshaha, touch. He means indeed antaha, inside. Na jayate. Na means not, jayate means exists. Next line, na he, not indeed, he means indeed. Akashasya, of the space element. Dhumen, with smoke. Drishyamanaha, apparently. Api means through. Sangati, contact. Indeed, the heart of one who has comprehended the self is not touched by virtue and vice. Just as the space is uncontaminated by smoke, even though it exists in the space. Okay, so in other words, the grosser cannot have any impact on the subtler. So smoke cannot affect the sky element, the earth, the Akash element, because smoke is lower. So the same way he says, all of this, what you're talking about, all my wealth, the opulence, the palaces, the relationships, my kingdom, it is at a lower level. It cannot contaminate my higher self. Okay, and we can all really understand with this example. We have seen the dust, the smoke, the clouds, even though they remain hung up in space, but because of the greater subtlety of the space, it never gets contaminated. For sometimes we might think that it gets contaminated. Even these days we see that, we saw that there was a lot of pollution. We talk about the other countries, but even in this country, let me tell you, sitting in my bedroom over here, there's a big window and there's a church a little far away. I could never see the church this closely. It almost like the church has moved close to me. So that means there was a pollution between. The other day I was looking at it, I said, what happened? It's almost like I can reach the church. So just in a few days, we stopped creating the pollution and air is clean. And over here, he's giving the example of even subtler than the air, the Akash Tattva. So we can never pollute it. That's how powerful the nature is. But over here, he is just giving that example, analogy, and then he says the same way, virtue and vice cannot affect one who has comprehended the self. So in a way, he says, I have comprehended the self. So virtue and vice are the negative and the positive vasanas. Vasanas are not in the Atma, in the soul. We talk about vasanas quite a bit. Vasanas are part of the mind, the Cheta, the deeper mind. That's where the vasanas are. They are not in the Atma. So when we have reached the level of the Atma, they have lost their power. Vice and virtue, both, Pap and Punya. A man of wisdom is one who has withdrawn himself from all material equipments. And he has gone beyond even the vasanas. So, Punya Vasana, sure, we got to cultivate those first. And with the help of the Punya Vasanas, we climb up. But Pap Vasanas, definitely, that's like a Pap Vasana means Tamsikta and the Rajsikta. That's why we always talk about it. Let's work on reducing the negative tendencies in us. And then ultimately, with the help of the positive, the Punya, we will rise above. But over here, King Janak is saying, I can see the Atma, I am the Atma. So the royal activities and their anxieties, the court and its pleasures, the throne and its responsibilities, they are all around me, but none of them can affect me. They are all around me. He says, I understand, they are there, but I am untouched by them because I know that who I am now. So just like a space is not contaminated by the dust or smoke, that is held suspended in it. Okay. Number 4. Atma eva idam jagat sarvam gyatam yen mahatmana yadrichyaha vartmanam tam nishedam kshamet ka. Atma self, ev means alone. Idam this, jagat universe. Sarvam all, gyatam is known. yen by whom, Mahatma, the wise person, yadrichyaha, as he likes. It's like almost like a spontaneously. Vartmanam, remaining, tam means him, nichedam, prohibit, niched, kshemet, can, ka means who. The wise person who has known this entire universe to be the self alone acts spontaneously as he likes. He just, whatever needs to be done, he does it. Who can forbid him? There's nothing nichhed for him. Whatever he does becomes the dharam because he is acting with this oneness with the self. So even the Vedas dare not prescribe do's and don'ts to such a person of perfection. In fact, the Vedic injunctions are records of the observed behaviors and attitudes of such personalities. So whatever they do, that becomes a dharam. The freedom has been attained to a man of perfection by scriptures only because he has transcended his ego. Ego has been completely ended. There's no me and mine in these personalities. So that's why they don't even do anything wrong. Or they don't even think viciously. Sometimes in our understanding, because we are not there yet, we try to see that how did they do that? Why did they do that? Because we are looking for a flaw. We are thinking from a very material mind. But over here, Janak says, the wise person who has known the entire universe to be the self alone. It's like a Brahman, 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 nothing else. See, just like a great musician, even in the material world, can never go wrong in his time and tune. Great musician I'm talking about, who has reached to that level. Or a great dancer can never go wrong in his steps. The same way, a man of perfection cannot step out from the righteous path. He will always be on the path of dharam. His actions might be misunderstood, as I said earlier, by his generation, but he is in harmony with that righteousness. In Mahabharata, Shukdev ji himself says, one in whom all sense of distinctions has ended. Concepts of virtue and vice have rolled away. Maya and its delusions have lifted. All doubts have ceased. One who dwells beyond words. Without the three qualities. And three qualities are what? Satvikta, Rajsikta, Tamsikta. Because those are the qualities of the Prakriti. Awaken to the reality ever after. Moving on the path of egolessness. To him who can prescribe what he must do and what he should not do. Should and shouldn'ts are in the early stages. A person who has reached there is beyond that. Number 5. Abram satam paryante bhut grame chaturvidhe vigyasye ev hi samarthyam ichha anichha virvajne. Abram stambh paryante. From the Brahma down to the grass blade. Bhut grame, in all beings. Chaturvidhe, of the three categories of existence. Okay. Vigyasya, the wise one. Ev means alone, he means indeed. Samarthyam, capacity, samarthya. Ichha, aniccha, virvajne. In renouncing desires and aversions. Ichha, aniccha. Okay, so desire and aversion. So of the four categories of existence, I think Urmil has a question. Yes, Urmil. Yes, Urmil. Can't hear it. Unmute her, please. Jyoti, I cannot hear her.
She's unmuted. She is unmuted.
Okay. Can you please go a little slow because we are not able to catch up writing notes?
Oh, sorry. I will try to go slow. Let's see.
You started number 5.
Yeah, number 5. So should I start all over again, number 5?
Yeah.
Okay. A Brahm Stambh Paryante. From Brahma. See, A Brahm means from Brahma. From Brahma down to a grass blade. Bhoot Grame. In all beings. Chatur Vidhe. The four categories of existence. Vigyasya, the wise one. Ev means alone. He means indeed. Samarthyam, capacity. Ichha, aniccha. Ichha is the desire. Aniccha. It's the opposite of desire, aversion. Something you don't want. Vivarjne, renouncing. So renouncing desires and aversions. Of the four categories of existence, from Brahma down to a grass blade, it is the wise one alone who has the capacity to renounce desires and aversions. According to the Upanishads, the total world of beings dwelling in the surface of this globe fall under four categories. Four categories means the way they are born, the way they take birth. The first category is called Jaras. J-A-R-A-Y-U-J-A, Jaraj. Or it's also called Garbhaj. Garb means womb. Those that are born from the womb. Like human beings, mammals. Okay, they're called Jaraj. The second category is called Andaj. Those that are born from eggs. Right? Birds, reptiles, right? From the egg. Svedaj. Svedaj means those that are born from warm vapor or sweat. And the fourth category is Udbij. Those that are born of seeds or sproutings.
Who is born from vapor and sweat?
A lot of bacteria, the viruses. Okay. There's a life in them too. So all these together indicate the entire world of beings that exist here among us. So he said Brahma. Where was the Brahma born from? From the navel of Vishnu. You remember that, the story? from the navel. There was a lotus. Lotus is like a stem of the lotus. He was in there. And he didn't know how to create. Then he heard the sound of tap, tap, tap. That means the austerity. Then he did the austerity for many, many years. Then he could create those sons of him from his mind, creation. Okay, so that's why the Brahma also has a lifespan. And the rest of us also got the lifespan. So he says all these together indicate the entire world of beings that exist here among us. So in order to indicate the entire cosmos, Janak is just amplifying his statement, and he says from the creator down to a grass of blade. So he says the entire creation, they all have ichha, either the desire or the aversion, but a man of wisdom does not. Okay, so the man of self-realization alone is the sole being who has in him the unique capacity to renounce all the desires and aversions. These two feelings, in Yoga Sutras, those were Rag and Dvesh. You remember those Abhinivesh word? Abhinivesh was the last one. But it started with Avidya. Avidya, Asmita, Rag, Dvesh, Abhinivesh. So Rag and Dvesh were right in between over there. So these two feelings represent the entire activities of our mind. All day long, if we watch our mind, what is it telling us? I like this, I don't like this. I want this, I don't want that. Constant struggle. But he says the man of wisdom doesn't have that. So man of perfection alone is the one who has gone beyond his mind. Because this is what the mind is. And man of perfection has transcended the mind. This duality, like, dislike. He has gone beyond that. Why? Because there's no ego in him. And he does not react to the external world. See, we react to the external world endlessly. Sometimes there's no reason to react, we still react. Because we are so attached to the fruits. So this all just comes down to the attachment to the fruit. This Rag and Dvesh is also because of attachment to the fruit. So our minds are colored by our perceptions, and that's why they are loaded down with the vasanas. We have come here to clear out the vasanas, but when we come over here, we forget that what our real job is. We just keep putting more and more vasanas. It's almost like if I want to clean something, and I just put it into dirty water. See, that's what elephant does. If you look at elephants in the jungle, they wash themselves in the clean water. What do they do after that? They put dirt on them again. They say they roll into the mud. And that's what we have done ever since we came here. When we were born, maybe the vasanas were not as thick. But living in this world with all these desires and aversions, I want this, I don't want this. We have forgotten our real journey. But the wise man does not. That's what he's trying to tell us. So, who has risen above his mind and has apprehended the self? Okay. There is a Maha Upanishad. In that Upanishad, this is simple couplet which talks about the Bandhavan and Mokshavan. Mokshavan is a person who is liberated. Bandhavan is a person who is bondaged. where we fall into bandhavan, bondage. So in case you depend upon the world of perceptions, then your mind is bound. Because what is really bound? The mind. And in case your mind has fully renounced the world of perceptions, then your mind is liberated. It was written many, many times, many, many years ago. Drishyam ashresidam chet tat sachito asi bandhavan drishyam satyaj sidam chet tada achito asi mokshvan. So it's a whole play is the play of the mind. The last verse of this chapter, Atmanam advayam kaschit janati jagdishwaram yat veti tat sakurte na bhayam tasya kutrachit. Atmanam, self, advayam, one without a second, like a non-dual. Kaschit, rarely one. Janati, knows, K-N-O-W-S. Jagadishwaram, Lord of the universe. Yat means which, Veti means knows, K-N-O-W-S, knows. Tat means that, Sa is he, Kurute, does, Na means not, Bhayam, fear. Tasya, his, Kutrachit, anywhere. Rare indeed is the one who knows the self. Even Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, among the countless people, very few people walk on this path. And the people who started to walk on this path, very rare reaches it. Okay? So rare indeed is the one who knows the self as one without a second. As a one without second means there's only one. There are not many, it's only one. One God, and we are all part of that. That's it. There's nothing else. It's a homogeneous Brahm everywhere. And as the Lord of the universe, he does what comes to his mind. And he has no fears from anywhere. No fear. So this is a concluding verse. This disciple has discovered a daring courage. In the depth of his own experience, he's talking from the experience. He talking about the sense of divinity as the self. So he has realized himself not only as the one infinite self, but also as the governor, the ruler, the controller, the Lord of the universe of the names and forms. That's why he said such an individual does whatever comes to his mind. Meaning he fearlessly undertakes to do whatever he considers worth doing. And this kind of a person will not do anything low or base. Because those kind of a thoughts won't even come to this person's mind because there's no ego. There's no me and mine in him. He's always confident that his actions are expressions of the divine blessings. And he's just helping the community through his equipments. And fear really could also mean that he has no fear of criticism from anyone. Because he's not the doer, he's not the enjoyer. And obviously, the Guru Astavakra, when he heard this from his student, he was satisfied with the student's confidence in his own wisdom. And that's why he continues his discourse in the following chapter. So it's not the ego talking in him that I can do anything. I am this, I am that. No. He's just expressing the wisdom which his guru expressed. And guru said that you got to practice this. And he practiced and he reached to that level, and the Guru saw that. Okay. So any question? I know sometimes I go a little fast, but if you have any question, please do ask. I'll go over it again.
Hersh, this is Raj.
Yes, Raj.
So I was I'm talking about somebody born out of sweat. When I was in Dwarika Ji, there's a temple on top of the hill of Hanumanji and his son. And they said that's the only temple of its kind. And the son was born when Hanumanji was flying over the ocean, and his sweat fell into a crocodile's mouth. And crocodile gave birth to the son, and they have deity of Hanumanji and his son. Just sharing.
Yeah. Things like that. There are a lot of stories, a lot of things. Even when we look at the God incarnation of Varaha avatar. Where did he come from? From the nostrils of Lord Vishnu. That's how he was born. So this creation can happen. I mean, we know only our mind is very limited. We got to learn how to transcend this mind, and then we'll have more and more answers and more faith also on these scriptures which we study. Otherwise, sometimes we can disregard it just as a story. No, those are not stories. There's a truth to it. Whether your story of this Hanumanji, I believe that. Or story of Vara, or even Shukdev Ji, when he was just stayed for 12 years in the womb of his mother. Our logical intellect says, how can that happen? Or when in the womb of Devaki, the seventh child of Devaki and Vasudeva got transferred to Rohini, which was a Balram. Right? You all know these stories. A lot of people, they say, no, they are stories, but God can create anything. So we got to just first have a faith in it, then we'll experience it too. You will see things happening in your own life. I have told you my own story a few times. When Guruji was in his human form, in the ashram in Bartlett, I saw the flower appeared, moved, appeared again, and I called Guruji, what is happening? The details, I won't go into it right now, but I called him and he said, these things happen in devotee's life. For him, it was just a very normal thing. For me, it was a big thing back then, almost 20 years ago. There was no flower, but flower came. Flower moved. Another flower came, and big size flower. So these are, sometimes God does these things to increase our devotion into this unseen. Because these eyes can see only the physical things. But there are a lot happening in this universe. We need those eyes. That's why when Arjun said, I really don't see you, you say, I'm everywhere. I don't see you. I don't even see you in the moon or the sun. You got to show me. What did Lord Krishna say? With these material eyes, you cannot see. Even though I'm there. Aham dadami divichakshu. So those divine eyes he could give him. And he saw those. He saw Lord everywhere. There's no place where God is not. Okay.
Kim has a question.
Who has Kim? Yes, Kim.
Kim.
When you said that the subtler cannot be contaminated by the grosser, but isn't the mind subtler than the body? And so I'm not sure if I'm understanding, because the mind I think can be contaminated by the actions that you take, the things that you eat. So I'm not sure what you mean by.
Okay, all right. Mind does get contaminated because we have made the mind lower. We believe in that mind. If we believe in that mind is higher, then it won't get contaminated. It gets purified also. See, just like the air, we think it's when it gets polluted, we do see the pollutants in it. Okay, so this mind, even though it does not get contaminated in essence, but we think that it got contaminated. And that we think mind got contaminated, and effect of that contamination we feel in the body also. Okay, so it's not permanently that mind can never be contaminated.
Oh yeah, I understand. Okay.
You got that now? See, just like air can never be permanently contaminated. But we think it's got contaminated, then it got cleared. The same mind, and that is what the whole journey is all about. Cleaning the mind. And that clean mind, the pure mind, the divine mind, that can take us towards the liberation. With the help of the mind, we are going to get liberated. And with the same mind, if we think that it's contaminated, we'll go down also. Okay? So bandhan, this bondage is with the mind, liberation is with the mind. Okay? So I'm glad it's clear. Anybody else?
Prem Mehta?
Yes, Prem.
Actually, I'm kind of taking us away to something else. When he said that my queens are also objects, I kind of felt, it seems like right from ancient times, women are just openly objects. And I don't know if you have a comment about that. Also, I know he's saying something, everything with humility, but he's comparing himself with Indra, Devtas, that they feel in a certain way. And I was wondering, how would King Janak know how Devtas feel? Maybe you could shed some light on that.
Then he wouldn't care. He says he's better than Indra Devta.
That's what I mean. So that's not
he says the Indra Devta is doing things for his own happiness. He says, for me, this worldly happiness doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything.
Okay, in that sense, he's saying.
Okay.
And from sure, somebody can say, even people say Lord Krishna talked about me. But actually, he said, I am Bhagwan, I am Brahma, see me everywhere. He's saying it because at that time, he was talking about it from that point of view, Brahm. And that's what Janak is doing too. And it's not just the female body he's talking about. Because Ashtavakra said, you have the queens. That you have all these relationships. It could be the queens also. It was the sisters also. It was the his palaces also. It was his wealth also. It was all the relationships, not just the queens alone. Okay? Yeah. Don't think it that way. I think sometimes the literature is written and we just look at it only from that point of view, especially the female mind of ours.
I know. I get very.
No. Once they are to that level, gender has no meaning.
I see.
Soul doesn't have a gender. Okay? Soul is a soul. Whether is in a male body or a female body, in an animal body, in a plant body, in a bug body.
I'll try to remember that.
Yeah. So we got to, because Janak is talking from that very high level of experience. Okay. And then we'll see in the future chapters more and more clarification of this. Anybody else?
Urmil Chawla.
I mean, there's a constant debate between the science and all this. Scientifically, how you create somebody without the four methods, that categories that were mentioned, and all these Vayuputra and all these weird things. I just don't see any logic in them. And are these just stories? So what?
It's all what where your mind can reach to. Okay, if these stories increase more faith in God for you, use them. If they create more disturbance, I would say just leave them alone. Okay. For me, when I read these stories or these scriptures, I just really add up. Wow, what a beautiful, I mean, God is so big, we cannot understand with our scientific mind. Eventually, hopefully, science will reach to that level where they can understand. Even Einstein and the Newtons, ultimately, they made statements like that. That ultimate creator is so much bigger than our mind and intellect can ever comprehend. So, but right now, if the stories disturb you, as a teacher, my suggestion is just don't think too much about them. Just take only as much as you can digest. Okay? You don't want to disturb your mind.
No, I'm not disturbing, but at the same time, you hear so much about the scientific aspect of these things versus the mythology. All the time we read about it, and I wonder how they came up with these.
Yeah, they did not come up with, it did happen. If you ask me, I think everything did happen.
Okay.
Hanumanji could fly. We have not seen him fly, but if you ask certain yogis, they have seen God flying.
But have we seen something in this era that we can identify?
Yes, in this era, you know, in our own ashram, we have Prabhu Ramlalji's statue. He flew. Ordinary people saw him flying. Going from Samai Gram, that's like near Agra, there's a village, he was over there. From there to Kailash Parvat. And from Nepal to the Kailash Parvat too. At that time, nobody saw him flying, but his own guru came. Lord Shiva came to Nepal and took him. They both were flying and went there, and he has written this in his own handwriting. And then Samai in that village near Agra, people, ordinary people, the villager, they saw him flying. And he told them, he said, I'm going, I'll come back. So in this era, it happened. Okay. So if we want to see, we can fly or we can see somebody else flying, first we got to have a faith in it. If we already have a doubt in our mind, then we'll never see it. First, we got to have a faith.
Okay.
Because that's how it goes. If a person says, I'm very smart, goes to a university, just tell them that, give me the certificate. I am as smart as any other doctor. What will they say? They'll say, go to the rigorous studies, pass the exam, then we'll give you the certificate. Nobody will give him the certificate right away. The same thing goes in the God's agenda also. He says, have faith, then you will see me. Because people like us, we want to say that, no, show me that you are flying, then I'll believe in you. God says, okay, don't believe me. I don't care.
But he showed his cosmic form to Arjun.
Arjun had faith. Arjun had faith again and again. Arjun said very clearly that only you can do this. I have faith in you. Arjun had a complete faith in him. So we got to develop that kind of a faith. If we have that faith, things will happen. You will see that left and right. I promise you. Because that's how these munis, they say. See, Janak had the faith in Astavakra. And Janak right away, he just attained that realized state of mind. So faith, develop the faith. You remember, faith is one of those 6 qualities we need to cultivate even as a student. Right? Chat, sampati. We often talk about, right? Sham, dam, uprati, titiksha, shraddha. Shraddha is the faith. And shraddha, this, and the 6th one is samadhan. So shraddha is a faith in something we don't see. Faith is always in something we really do not perceive right now. We don't need faith in something we can already see. I don't have to have a faith that I have a nose. I know I have a nose. Faith is always in something you cannot see. But with faith, we end up seeing what we did not see before. Okay?
Yeah.
So faith is needed. Faith is the key element over here. That's why they say Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. And if we don't have a faith, we will definitely stay disturbed. So Shraddha. Okay. So anything else? Yes, Padmini.
Namaste, Hershi.
Namaste, namaste, Padmini.
You know, I have this saying that says, let your faith be bigger than all your fears.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have faith in God, but we fear so much about what's going on in the world today, afraid of so many things. In spite of having so much faith, how does one overcome all the fears, what we face today?
Increase the faith. Increase it, right? Faith and fear, they are on the opposite end of the spectrum. Okay? So increase the faith, fear will go away. Mm-hmm. Faith means God is with me. Whatever is happening, there's a reason for it. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. Whatever happens, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Then fear goes away. So fear is always that I want a certain outcome. Mm-hmm. That is what the fear is. Faith is God. It's okay, whatever. You stay with me. I want to be just touching your feet. I want to love you. That's all. And God is everywhere all the time. Okay? So whenever fear enters, remember God. Whether you can sing a bhajan, and you do sing beautifully, just keep on singing bhajans.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Increase the faith. That's all. It's a practice. This is what the sadhana is all about. Yeah. Okay? Anybody else?
Thank you.
Okay, let's do a little chanting then. So I think keep everybody muted. And today Manny is going to play that Narayan Kirtan for just a few minutes. And then you can meditate with that, or you can chant with that. Try to connect with that higher power in any form you want. See, God has many forms, many names. Doesn't matter which, but we are just doing the Narayan Dhun today. So do that, and after that, we'll unmute everybody and we can have more discussion. So let's start, Mary.
Narayan, Narayan, Hari Hari. Sriman Narayan, Narayan, Hari Hari. तेरी लीला सबसे न्यारी न्यारी हरी हरी सबसे न्यारी न्यारी हरी हरी तेरी लीला लीला सबसे न्यारी न्यारी हरि हरि भजमन नारायण नारायण हरि हरि जय जय नारायण नारायण हरि हरि श्रीमन नारायण नारायण हरि हरि नारायण नमो नारायण लक्ष्मी नारायण नारायण हरि हरि बोलो नारायण नारायण हरि हरि भजो नारायण नारायण हरि हरि जय जय नारायण जय जय नारायण नारायण हरि हरि श्रीमन नारायण नारायण हरि हरि सबसे न्यारी न्यारी तेरी लीला सबसे न्यारी न्यारी हरि हरि श्रीमन नारायण नारायण श्रीमन नारायण नारायण हरि हरि ओम नमो नारायण ओम नमो नारायण सत्य नारायण नारायण हरि हरि जपो नारायण नारायण हरि हरि जपो नारायण नारायण हरि हरि भजो नारायण नारायण हरि हरि भजो नारायण नारायण हरि हरि जय जय नारायण नारायण जय जय नारायण नारायण हरि हरि श्रीमन नारायण नारायण हरि हरि तेरी लीला सबसे न्यारी न्यारी हरि हरि तेरी लीला सबसे न्यारी न्यारी हरि हरि श्रीमन नारायण Sriman Narayana Hari Hari.
Thank you very much. Namaste. Thanks for coming. And we'll unmute everybody and